Let's make a necklace. DIY mixed media jewelry gives off such a great artisan jewelry vibe. Today we'll be covering the basics of jewelry making, how to make a necklace with or without a pendant as the focal point. We'll cover how to use crimp beads, tubes, and covers, how to use the basic jewelry supplies and jewelry making tools, such as jewelry pliers, crimping pliers, and the wire cutter, or wire nipper was the term I first learned for the wire cutter. We'll talk about how to attach a jewelry clasp. There's a lobster clasp, and here are some toggle clasp examples. Bonus, you get to learn a bit about repurposed jewelry, because the mosaic pendant that I'm using is a DIY broken china jewelry piece that I made at an artful gathering at a local art friend's house. Shout out to Danica Tuxbury from Mosaic Phoenix for the opportunity to craft this great mosaic jewelry statement piece. Let's jump to it. I'll tell you some more about the mosaics as we are creating the necklace. My name's Kathleen Arola-Johnson. Thanks for subscribing to my mixed media art tutorials, as well as taking a look at the other jewelry making tutorials in my jewelry making playlist. Here at Creative Solace Studios, I like all things creative. Before I get into this wire, let me tell you a bit about the pendant. So the pendant itself, you can use anything you want as the centerpiece of your jewelry, such as a charm that you bought, or a large bead or a statement bead could be the center of a necklace, polymer clay beads or charms, handmade charms, shrink plastic charms, whatever you choose. In fact, you don't even have to have something big or a statement piece in the center of your necklace. You could just use beads and follow this tutorial to use a completely beaded necklace as well. Back to this wire. My favorite way to decide the size of a necklace and amount of jewelry making wire is to put it around my neck. And if there's a pendant like this, I would string it on and then look in the mirror and see where I liked it to hang. A second way that I like to decide my length of beading wire is to find a favorite necklace that I already like, that I know that I like. I'm now nipping this with the wire nippers, and I'm leaving, I want to say maybe 6 to 8 extra inches for the crimping and the clasp, and just in case I decide that I might want it longer. Who wants to start a necklace and run out of wire? So better safe than sorry, snip off extra wire than you think you need. So you can put the wire around your neck, you can measure a necklace and leave those extra inches of wire at the end of it. Some people like to get the jewelry tray. I've had one in the past. It just isn't as much my style, but it actually has the grooves in it and the measurements of the necklace. There's plenty of necklace charts and diagrams online that you can look up that shows a diagram of a person and how far down a certain length of necklace would hang on them. So many different ways to determine the length. If you're curious about how my broken china mosaic pendants were made, I believe the black grout, per se, inside this thick bezel, which I did get these metal bezels deeper than usual. I got them on Etsy. I'll link some supplies in the description of this video. I believe the black part that I did in here was called Apoxie Sculpt brand mosaic adhesive. It's a 2-part black epoxy that you blend together, and then you have a set amount of time to work with it before it dries. You press, arrange, and clean the broken jewelry pieces, like with the little tweezers, and not jewelry pieces, broken china pieces, press them down into here. Some china pieces are thicker when you're clipping off pieces of the china, and some are not as thick. So let us clear some of this out so we can do the fun part of looking at the beads. Don't you love looking through bead stashes? Choices that you have when you're deciding on beads. You could choose one color when you've got a statement piece like this, one color for the whole necklace. I could pick up some of this red in there. I could choose different types of beads, seed beads, featured beads. I don't want something too heavy. Some of those are heavier beads in there. I'm thinking more of the neutral colors or the colors that might accent something in the pendant. I'm going to play around with my beads a little bit. Your choices are, do you want one kind of bead for the whole necklace? Would you like a pattern of beads? Do you want it symmetrical on each side of the necklace? Do you want it random? So I'm going to play around with my beads a little bit, and I will come back with you once I have decided what I'd like to work with. I do want to be careful of not taking the attention away from the pendant itself. I want to complement it and accent it, but I definitely want people's eyes drawn to my focal point. What I've been doing so far. I've been working on what will look good in the center. I've worked on one side of it, and I'm also of the mindset where I don't mind, at least for this necklace, I don't mind using different tones of metal. Some people like to use all silver or bronze or gold on their necklace or their jewelry making, but I'm mixing it up on here. So I've done one side, and now I'll match it up symmetrically on the other side. I should also mention that even the same type of beads from the same strand or package that you buy can be different colors. For example, this one. When I looked through these, some were more white, some were yellow, some were golden, and so I am trying to match it up on each side in this piece. I also am the kind of person who I like to take a break. I like to go in front of the mirror, hold this up, see how it actually hangs, because jewelry can look different down flat on your desk compared to how it hangs and moves and sits on your neck or bracelet on your wrist when you're wearing it. So this is my style of how I like to do beading. I like to do a little bit. I like to check it out, see how it looks like on, possibly remove something like this one. Did you see all those little seed beads just went through it? So I am going to take this one back off. At this point, I'll stop the video again and I'll come back to meet up with you when I have the rest of the necklace beaded. Here's how this pendant necklace is coming along so far. I opted for a lot of seed beads on it, especially on that side of your neck where the necklace curves around to the back of your neck. I didn't want anything cumbersome there. I did the reds in multiples of 3, starting off with 3 in between each beads and going to 6 and 9 and multiples of 9. My dad would be proud. He's a math teacher. I'm working some math into here. That was one of my pet peeves, is that when people think math isn't applicable to real world situations, here we go, counting beads, measuring the length of this, and all those good math concepts. I'm using a number 2 crimp bead. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to assemble the lobster clasp onto the right side, and then when I attach it on my neck, I'll be able to work the clasp with my right hand. Then bringing in that loop with the clasp, taking the tail of this, threading it back through the crimp tube. And like I said, I did end up with extra wire as suspected. So here is the crimp tube down close to the clasp, but not so tight that it tightens up that clasp. Here's my crimping pliers. There's the 2 kind of circular oval spaces in there. I'm using this back space that's closest to the hand that's holding the crimping pliers, and I am squishing that crimp bead. I'm curving it kind of into a letter U, so it's halfway curved. I'm flipping my crimping tool around, and I'm using that notch that's closest to the tip of the tool. That is going to keep the crimp bead, crimp tube going around, folding it basically into a cylinder, into a circle. Sometimes I'm apt to squeeze it too much because I worry about it coming off after all that hard jewelry making work, but don't squeeze it too much because it can break. Sterling silver ones are crimp tubes, or crimp beads are sturdier, and I do use those on more precious projects. Then the wire nippers before, I don't think I mentioned, see the side where the blades are flush together? I'm putting that side down so it will so it will nip the closest to the crimp bead. There we have that side of it. Now let us explore the crimp covers. You can leave it like that, there's no problem. That's just going to be on the back of your neck, but sometimes it can get a little fussy when it's on the back of your hairline. Can aggravate you somewhat, can aggravate me somewhat. So that's where the crimp covers come in handy. These are bead-along crimp covers. I used bead-along crimp tubes as well. These are basically a decorative bead that encloses that little silver crimp so that it is smoother and those rough edges won't catch on you. I think I will see if this size fits. But if you can see carefully, I'm using this flat part of my pliers to close that opening, trying to do it carefully so the 2 sides match each other. Like a clamshell, closes like a clamshell. Just adjusting with it to make it neater. It's smooth. Looks like a bead, won't catch on the back of my neck, will be more comfortable to wear than if it was just a crimp tube or a crimp bead on there. I will now slide all the beads down to that end, not pulling it too tight, but not wanting to have a gap of wire in here. You can use either a jump ring or a split ring. Test it out, make sure that that clasp fits on it. I attached the ring in the same manner as crimping the clasp, and now I finished that crimp cover too. Ta-da! We now have a clasp and a ring on each side of the necklace, so this mosaic pendant necklace is wearable and ready to be put on. Linked in the description are 2 3-minute straight-to-the-point tutorials about just how to use crimp beads and just how to attach a jewelry clasp in case you need a quick refresher about those basic steps sometime. Thank you for creating with me today and making some jewelry. I love this drop pendant necklace with the broken china mosaic in the bezel. You can customize this to any jewelry necklace making project that you choose. Thanks so much for subscribing and spending time with me today. I'm happy to create with you, whether it's jewelry making or other mixed media art or mixed media journal making. I'm an retired elementary school art teacher, and I love sharing creative time together.